For today's video, I'll be going over the quietest aquarium air pump I've ever used. This is so silent that the sound of the bubbles popping on the water's surface is actually louder than the pump itself, making it an ideal choice for people with aquariums in their bedrooms, offices or living rooms. But just a quick note before I go any further, this video is not sponsored and I bought this product with my own money. So I want to start with a real-time noise test of the pump. That is with my phone placed around a metre away from the air pump, and it's really not that loud. I downloaded a decibel meter app for my phone and it says it's around 35 decibels with the phone around 1 metre from the pump, but I honestly do think the bulk of the noise is coming from the air bubbles. Now the best thing about this type of air pump is that you don't need to go with the same model that I have from Nano because it's the piezoelectric technology inside of the pump that keeps it so quiet. These pumps don't use a traditional moving diaphragm, so there's no vibration, which is usually the main cause of the sound from a lot of other air pump technology systems. Instead, these piezoelectric pumps have no moving parts, making them almost silent when running. So you can go with this Nano model that I personally use, or you can go with the higher model that's currently on the market because they both use a piezoelectric system. Both of them will have very similar, almost silent noise levels. Moving on, and we get to suitable tank sizes, and as quiet as these are, there is still a limitation on the pump. While piezoelectric technology is not new by any means, it has only recently started to work its way into the aquarium hobby. Because of this, the current generation of the piezoelectric air pumps on the market tends to have limited air pressure, which restricts the tank sizes we can use them on. This specific model has an airflow of 18 litres per hour, so it's really not much, but it's easily held a cycle on my 25 litre or 6.6 US gallon aquarium with an undergravel filter. This tank is stocked with some Medaka rice fish, some yellow neocaridina shrimp and some ram's horn snails, and it does have some plants that will help back up the filtration. Personally, I'd only recommend using them on air-powered filters on tanks that are below 12 US gallons or 45 litres in size. Even then, I do think you'll get the best performance in nano tanks, which are 6.6 US gallons or 25 litres or smaller, similar to the one I'm running it on. But if you're only looking for an air pump for an air stone to use in larger aquariums to increase the dissolved oxygen count, I do think this air pump will be fine for a lot of people. That's because the goal when boosting oxygen levels rather than trying to run a filter is just to increase the amount of surface area that the water has with atmospheric air. So even this low-powered air pump can still help with that because the bubbles rising to the surface increase the surface area between the atmospheric air and the water under the water, and then they get to the surface and they create ripples that increase the surface area further. Moving on to setting the pump up, and this is a very beginner-friendly piece of equipment and anyone can set this up. Start by connecting one end of the airline tubing to the actual air pump and then add a non-return valve or check valve to the other end. After that, connect a second piece of airline tubing from the check valve to your device, be it a sponge filter, box filter, undergravel filter or an air stone. Once everything's in place, plug it in and leave it to do its thing. Now I know a lot of people do skip non-return valves in their air-powered filters, but I highly recommend using one. It's quick and easy to add, and it helps prevent water from backflowing down the tube if you have a power cut, or like myself, you unplug the air pump during maintenance and forget to plug it back in. I also want to touch on an actual downside for this pump too, because unfortunately it uses a standard plug rather than a USB connector for power. If you're running a single aquarium, then this is probably not an issue because you're likely to have plenty of spare plugs available. But if you have a fish room with multiple aquariums like myself, then plugs can be at a premium. For context, I use 6-watt Haiger clip-on lights with my shrimp jars and they run off a USB without issue. But these pumps only have a draw of 1.5 watts and for some reason there's a plug on the end of the power cable. Now I might be missing something very obvious here, but to my understanding this just increases costs, shipping weight and manufacturing time, and then you've got to have the relevant plug for each individual country, when as far as I'm aware a USB connector could have been used in its place. Other than that though, this is a great piece of equipment and you've got to go very, very close to the pump to hear it, and even then, you're probably going to be able to hear the air bubbles popping more than the actual pump itself. Anyway guys, that brings the video to an end. I hope it's been helpful, as I know a lot of people have been asking about quiet or silent air pumps recently. Thanks for watching, have a good day and good luck with your air pump.